All right, guys, let's talk about really my approach to the swing. Let's just get right to the meat and potatoes of what I teach. So, as you guys know, basically everybody has too much of the backside pathway working and not enough of the lead side pathway. What does this mean? It means that, we have a wave of energy moving up our bodies when we swing. That wave has to kind of go through our torso and then kind of split between the lead arm and the back arm. Most people feel too much of the backside pathway working. Why? Because we have there are many reasons for this, but I would say probably the main one is we start kids off with their dominant arm and back. That's probably the main reason, but there are other ones too. Just what we teach in swing instruction leads us more towards a backside pathway. What we swing as we're growing up, a lot of these light bats lead to more of a backside pathway. We need to feel more of the lead side pathway working. And so what's great about doing that is it leaves open for you to do it any way that's comfortable for you. Whereas a lot of the stuff today is saying move your hips like this, or move your legs like this, or rotate like this, be bent over like this, or whatever. It confines you, and it's really not something that's significant anyways. So the only thing it's really accomplishing is confining your swing. It's not making you do anything that's really all that important in the swing. The more and more you do that, the worse your swing will get, because you're restricting and restricting and restricting, and never touching on anything that's really of consequence or that's going to help you improve your hitting. The only thing you need to do is feel more of the lead side pathway. And the other thing that goes along with that is less of the backside pathway. What people need to learn is, okay, I'm using less of my back arm, but how am I moving it? Because what happens to so many of you guys is you're feeling more of the lead side pathway, but then you add the back arm and you swing and you put it into a regular swing, and your back arm wants to take over as it had been doing for many years. So it's really hard to break that habit. Today I want to talk about the process that I want you guys going through to develop more lead side pathway. Okay? Now, let's take a look at the video here. Now, this is not a necessary thing. Some guys may not do this when swinging with just the lead arm. But you'll tend to want to tip the bat more towards the opposite batter's box, like you see I'm doing here. This is why we see so many of the great pound-for-pound hitters do this kind of action. Is it necessary? No, but I'd at least like you to play with it, because most people do want to feel a bit of a tip there, and I do think it helps get the barrel some momentum early in the swing. What's so deleterious about what they're teaching now in baseball swing instruction is how guys are just jolting from the start. You don't want to do that. Any fluid athletic movement should be a smooth action. Now people say, well, what about change-ups? How can you start so early when you don't know when the pitch is actually crossing the plate? Don't worry. I mean, you can still put your swing in a nice fluid action even if you happen to be early on your forward rotation. We can still make that into the entire swing too. There have been guys can, I mean, you can just look at footage of guys like Griffey and even Babe Ruth and Barry Bonds. These guys were able to do a fluid movement and then get kind of out in front for a second, but then still continue the movement. So yes, of course, you're going to be out in front at times. Doesn't mean that you're dead. You just secondary cushion and delay your swing for a moment and then continue. So anyways, I like this move because it tends to promote more lead arm dominance. Is it necessary? No. But it also helps with getting a little bit more front humerus compression as I start forward. So this is a move that I do want to see. I want to see the barrel flatten out as you start forward. This will happen naturally when you're swinging with just the lead arm. It should happen naturally. What I want you to notice is look at the positioning of the hand here. This is a key difference in how a lead arm structure is different from a back arm dominant structure. Notice the bowed left hand here. This is the feel that I want you to have. Now let's continue here. This is more the feel of a backside dominant structure. This is what most of you guys are used to in the lead arm. You see how there's kind of a bend in the wrist here. And it's not like this. It's much different than this. I want you to feel this. So go ahead and pick up a bat and kind of press on the bat, feeling yourself pulling with more of a bowed wrist at this point. That's the feel that I want you guys to have. So many guys out there, you guys are picking up a bat, a small training bat, and starting the lead arm swings, and you're doing the exact same move that you've always done. You're having that cup in the wrist, and you're just firing out like this. The arm's getting away from the body. I want the arm to connect to your rotation and then get nice and bowed. You'll feel this want to happen naturally. It's just so many of you guys are so ingrained in what you've been doing for years. So feel that move. There you can see. Look at the bowed wrist there. And then I'm able to use my body to swing the bat through. What this kind of swing lacks is flippiness, the flippy action. It doesn't have that. I'm swinging, there's no flip in the action. Here it is from the side. You can see the bowed wrist coming, and I'm just using my rotation to bring the bat through. As I said, you can press on the bat to feel this. I want you guys to feel this right now. Grab a bat and feel this action. This is why swinging, this is why the lead side pathway is a different swing altogether. It really is like, it's like an entirely new set of code in your swing. I mean, it's a completely different story that's being told. I do look at the swing as being basically a program being run, and it is made of movement code, as I like to think about it. And your movement will code for certain results. It'll code for high power, or it'll code for low power. So here's the action that we don't want. Notice the bow in the wrist. I'm kind of firing the hand. The arm is getting away from the body, as is the hand. And then I'm kind of flipping out there. This is the conventional way. This is what's normally taught out there. So let's get into the back arm now. So for the back arm, I have a different training aid. For the back arm, I have this basically like almost like a wand training aid. It's not available on my site right now. Let me talk about why it's beneficial. And by the way, it is basically a 14-inch broomstick handle wood. Why do I like using this? Because if you have a bat and you're moving slowly through the action, well, the bat is kind of weighing down on your hand as you're moving through. So you're flexing those muscles. So you're getting used to flexing those muscles. I don't want that weight pulling down, and I don't want people always holding the middle of their bat to not have that weight, because then you have the bat kind of hitting your forearm. So this is a training aid that allows you to feel the bat, so to speak, in your hands, but move slowly through the movement and not feel that weight press against you. You can move slowly through the movement, relaxing your wrist. I think this is so important. You need to be able to move slowly through the movement and feel what you want to feel through the swing with the back arm. And what do we want to feel? We want to feel a lack of flip in the backhand. So many of you guys have your concept of the swing is in your brain, it's kind of in the feel of the back arm. This is why I say a lot of you guys, you're doing the lead arm swings very well, but then you add the back arm and it just wants to mess things up, because most of what you know about your swing, the feel is in your backhand, and so it's going to tend to want to go back to what it's always been doing. What a flip is a flip is basically the forearm wanting to rotate over before this has released very much or at all. The hand has released very much or at all. So the forearm is starting to rotate over, but you haven't released this. So we want the opposite to happen. Let me show you what the opposite looks like here. Let's just go to the... So we want this action here. This action here to happen, right? Before the forearm rolls. So allow it to release and then the forearm rolls. What does that look like? It looks like this right here. So let's back it up. So we're going from here to here, and believe it or not, my wrist in that little time, it's hard to see in this video, but it actually did this. It released. Now once I get here, now I'm okay with that forearm rolling. So from here it rolls. So put it into just one entire movement, it looks like this. You're going through and then the forearm rolls. So the point with this training aid is you're feeling this action here, what you just saw. You're feeling the release happen as you extend the arm and go through contact. And then once that release has happened, or at least towards the tail end of that release, then you can go ahead and rotate your forearm over. This, I think, is what guys are trying to do when they're in the on-deck circle and they're doing that kind of thing. But I just believe that it's better to work to isolate each arm and get it down by itself, and then add them together. Here's what a flip looks like. So we're here, the forearm is rotating over before I've released the wrist, and then all I have left to do is flip. Now, let me just throw a caveat out there. There's a spectrum for all these things. There's a spectrum for the lead arm. Guys are more or less feeling the lead side pathway. And there's a spectrum for releasing and moving properly in the back arm. Some guys flip a whole lot. Other guys flip just a little bit. So this isn't like a light switch. It's not black or white here. Now, here's what a flip would look like swinging this wand with the back arm. You can see my forearm is starting to feel like it's rotating over, and then I have a flip there. So here's what it looks like doing it right. I'm allowing the wrist to release while the forearm is still facing the sky. And then once it releases, then I can rotate the forearm over. So it's real simple. The only thing I want you guys to do is swing with just the lead arm and get that feel down. Do that for maybe a minute or two prior to hitting. Then grab the wand and get the right feel in the back arm. Do that for a minute or two. And then connect the two feelings. Take regular swings with a regular bat, feeling both feels in the lead arm and the back arm. Do that prior to hitting. And then, when you're done hitting, ingrain it again. This will ensure at the start that you're getting the right feel for your practice. And then after practice, you're telling your body, this is the move that we need to ingrain. By ending your practice with the same few minutes of lead arm and then back arm and then full swings. Do this, all of this, from both sides. I don't believe that you should ever be uneven in anything you do in sports. You should work both sides to avoid injury, to increase your health as much as possible. It's not healthy to just be doing repetitive movement from one side. Your sports should make you a healthier, happier person. It shouldn't be detracting from your health and happiness away from the sport. So hit both sides, and that is really the way to build more lead arm pathway into your swing. And that's really what swing mechanics is all about. It's really, that's the main thing that people need to do. And the other thing that they need to do is not listen to everything else. Just incorporate more lead side pathway. However you want to do that is the right way. And forget everything else. It's not that important. The only other thing that would be important beyond that is honing a secondary cushion. Do it however you want. If you tend to step to the left after your swing, fine. If you tend to step to the right, fine. None of that stuff matters. Do what really matters and forget the rest. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.